Good morning. Welcome to Community Unitarian Universalist Church here in Plano, Texas. My name is Reverend Dr. Aija Duelm. I am the minister of this congregation. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. And it is so good to see all of you. So glad to see Pam playing surfing in the USA. It's just fun. It's the summertime. When else do we surf, right? I hear that we do have some surfers in this congregation. Anybody who's done some surfing? Yes, look at that. We do. Yes. I have not done it, so I'm not going to talk about it. So you don't get the wrong impression of what surfing is all about, and I don't want to risk anyone's safety here. I want to extend all the welcome to all of you who are here, who are joining us online. We always have some people joining us at the same time in the live streaming. And this is a welcoming congregation. We are always happy to see new people, new faces, and I'm glad that you are coming here to see who we are and to see what we are all about. Hoping you will stay later for some conversations and get to know each other. We say that this is our sanctuary of hope. We come together for fellowship, we build connections and relationships, and together we seek meaning and understanding. And many of us have been on quite some journeys in our lives, whether those are the surfing trips, but also the spiritual type of journeys. We have searched for what is the truth that we call truth for ourselves. We have searched for worldviews and things that we believe ground us and guide us and give us the direction to understand what is good, what is not so good in the world. And we have arrived to different conclusions, and many of us have arrived to this place because we have found something here that we consider meaningful and that deeply matters to us. Today, we will celebrate a group of people who are our newest members who just recently decided that they also want to be part of this community, of this place, of this sanctuary of hope, because they have found something here that deeply matters to them. So these journeys are often long journeys. They take different turns, different twists. We go to many places along the way, and sometimes they require us to respond to some rather difficult situations. And in order to respond to these situations, we may need some tools or some necessary equipment with us. So packing those right tools might be very essential for that journey. Today, I want to start talking about some kind of unconventional tools like the surfboard that we may want to pack, or maybe a thermos for hot water. And I invite you to think about what other unconventional tools we might need for this journey and how they might be helpful to a certain situation, or many situations possibly, when we are facing different life's challenges and trying to navigate those tasks. Wherever you are on your journey, we're glad that you are here, and we welcome you here today. Words written by Margaret Weis for our call to worship. Come into this place with your whole self. The parts that are raw and exposed, the part that is beaming with joy, the part that is seeking the truth, the new, the possibility. Come into this place, open your heart, lay down your burden, lift up your hope for something new to happen. Come into this place with fellow travelers on the journey. Some faces new, others familiar, and all welcoming you here. Now to this moment. Come, let us worship together. We will start by lighting our chalice, and Jackie Darnell will light it.
This is by Chrystal, Hogan. In the presence of the flame in me, in you, in us, moving, resting, gathering, we are on sacred ground. In the presence of this fire, we are compelled to take up a torch, to carry a flame, to seek a sacred ground. In the presence of this spark, we are committed to light the fire of passion, of life, of holy work, to journey toward truth on sacred ground.
The covenant is a promise that we make to each other about the ways we will walk together. We do not hold a creed. We gather and join ourselves together in this promise, in this agreement, in the covenant about the ways we will be together. I invite you to join me in reciting these words and reminding ourselves of our covenant. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in freedom, and to help one another. So for the story time, I usually come down here so we can have a conversation. I also have some, visual. I like to have visuals. I don't have a surfboard because I do not surf. And I didn't know that in our congregation we do have some surfers. I would have asked them to bring it. But imagine we have a surfboard and a thermos. What do you think the story is about? A beach. A thermos on the beach. Anything else? What else the story could be about? Camping? Water? Outdoor adventure? Extreme weather. Ooh. I didn't hear you, did I? Preparation. Wow, these are wonderful ideas. Have you read the story before? No? Okay. It is about love. But it is about the ways we put love into action. So think about wild animals. Most of the seasons, they have a way of taking care of themselves, including winter. But then on some occasions, and very rarely, but there are times when the conditions are so dangerous, so difficult, that even wild animals struggle. So the story that I will tell you is a true story. It actually happened in 2024, in December, in Reykjavik. If you know Iceland, that's an island north of most of the US, kind of on the same level as Alaska probably. Cold place. And there was post in the social media page that showed up that said that there was a swan that was stuck on ice and was dying. As you can imagine, as it happens in social media posts, there were a lot of responses. People commented. Some was worry, some was questions. There were, of course, lots of opinions. Is it possible to help? What can we do? What did Swan do to get itself stuck? Lots of wondering and lots of worry. And then someone named Kirsten Langerberger, who's described as a naturalist, and I'm not sure if it's a hobby or a job, responded to the social media post, and Kirsten wrote, "I am on my way with the necessary equipment." And what do you think that necessary equipment was? The surfboard and the thermos, right? The thermos to melt the ice, right? So that to free the swan. And surfboard so that the rescuers themselves would not get stuck and fall into the ice in case it broke, right? They didn't want to get cold. And then, Kirsten brought one more thing with. So what do you think that might be?
A wetsuit.
A wetsuit? What else? Something to keep the swan from going nuts? What else? Food. Kirsten brought a friend. Yes. Kirsten and her friend, then with the help of that thermos and the surfboard, and probably there were other people cheering them on at the time, they were able to free the swan, who then flew away as soon as it could. So when we have a hard thing to do, we need the right supplies to help us get that thing done. And even more so, we may need someone to come along with us, to do it together. Sometimes we need that equipment that we will need to gather the equipment. We may need to create the equipment. And I know some of you are probably creating things in our RE classes during the summer. We may need to learn how to use it if we haven't already. Surfboard would be a tricky one for me to learn to use. And also we may need to be able to identify where the need is, because sometimes that need can be right here, right now, before we have gathered and learned how to use the surfboard. And yes, maybe it's a surfboard, maybe it's a thermos, and I can imagine quite a few times when thermos could be helpful for different situations. As long as we bring a friend along, we can face things that are in front of us, and that friend might be the equipment that we need as well. During summer, we often hear a lot about vacations, about trips and journeys and travels. Those of us who are lucky enough to have health that allows to travel and finances, we go on road trips. We fly to new and old destinations. We visit families and even go camping, even though it's very difficult to imagine in the 100-degree Texas weather that someone would want to be outdoors all day. We hear stories about these travel experiences, things that were seen and witnessed, including the joys and also adventures, which may not all be that happy and fun. And what we are less interested in hearing about is, what did you pack for this travel? And yet, packing might be the most crucial part. To have warm enough clothes for the cold that surprised us in that other destination, or not leaving behind the water bottle when you're on a hike, going through some wilderness in maybe even 90-degree weather. These trips and vacations make us think and wonder, what do we really need to have with us? Some of us make a packing list, and mostly this list has some very practical things that we imagine we will need. And not sure how many of us would pack a surfboard and a thermos on the same trip. The story that we heard earlier about Chrystal and how she rescued the swan teaches us that sometimes we need the most unusual things to be able to respond to the need that is in front of us. She packed a thermos and a surfboard, but this was really not a vacation trip. Chrystal responded to a need, dropped everything to go help, and yet brought with her the necessary equipment for the task. Life is a journey too. We go through various adventures, and not all of them fun. We take many turns and twists. Sometimes we need to pivot and choose a different direction. We may plan for some journeys, and then there are times when we discover that we need some very specific things that are necessary for the very thing that is in front of us. So it brings us to wonder, what kind of necessary equipment do we need for our life's journey? Are there things that we need to acquire, gather, learn, practice to be able to show up and respond when a need arises? As Unitarian Universalists, we are on a journey that is a spiritual journey. Today we welcomed our newest members who have decided to make this place their spiritual home after a journey that involved going to many places before. They have discovered that this place here is a place where we talk about placing love at the center of our faith, about our interconnectedness, into our interconnected web of all existence, and our shared responsibility to one another and to the earth. And all of us here are also asking and wondering, when love is called into action, what is our necessary equipment? And I'll be honest, to be a Unitarian Universalist is not an easy thing. We're called to act in a responsible and accountable manner, to respect and honor different ways of being in the world. We are called to deeply care for this world and for people in it. And these are not easy things. We live during a time when we are surrounded by some rather massive problems. There is a climate change that is harder and harder to ignore, even though some are still finding a way. There is a systemic injustice that continues to spread and affect our lives. There are wars and politics that are destroying things that we hold dear and vital to peaceful coexistence of all of us. And then there's also a deep loneliness in our society that is degrading our sense of connectedness, which is so important to our sense of well-being and our ability to face the difficulties that life brings. We worry about all these things and others. We debate about possible solutions. We write statements to describe our position and understanding of the issues and why they matter. And we know that worry itself is not going to move the issue. It is not going to melt the ice. That we need that thermos, or whatever that necessary tool is for the specific problem. Sometimes it can be a thermos, a tool that can bring patience and warmth to a tense conversation. It can be a surfboard that helps us stay afloat when the cultural ice beneath us are particularly thin and dangerous. There are times when the most unusual things turn out to be the very thing that we need for the journey. A surfboard can be a protest sign, clear and visible, tall for all to see. And more often than not, the equipment that we carry with us is less visible. It is internal. Our values, our commitments, our connections. These require us to take a deep look at ourselves, grow our understanding of the world and each other. And some of these things require us that we take our time to gather around, to learn and practice these tools. Here in this community, we draw on the tools of our faith to help us stay grounded. We gather for worship, for connections to our faith and to one another. We offer classes and conversations that allow us to learn, to hear other perspectives, to examine our own views in a safe space. And I hope you are taking advantage of these opportunities. Maybe even you are the one who would like to lead them, because here we learn from each other. So this is a great opportunity for all of us to be part of that process. Here we, as you heard earlier from Dina, we engage in social justice work to bring a little bit more justice into this world, and I hope you are joining in on these as well. Becoming a Unitarian Universalist is not the end of the journey. It is the beginning of a new ways of being in this world. In some ways, this way of being in the world will bring challenges. It will be challenging, sometimes even heartbreaking, but it will also be meaningful, fulfilling, and fun on more than one occasion. And all this starts with a simple willingness to show up for someone else. And remember to bring a friend. Kirsten brought a friend because the journey that is in front of us is not something that you would want to take alone. This is why we gather in a community, so that we can build connections, we can build friendships, and we can journey together. I will conclude by saying we cannot melt all the world's ice at once, but we can choose not to stand idly on the shore. May we cultivate our skills, gather our tools, and be the ones who can look at the world in pain and say, I am on my way with the necessary equipment. May it be so. It is time to extinguish our chalice, and Jackie will extinguish it. And please join in reciting these words together. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. As we go forth, I offer you these words written by Kent McKusick. In the name of all that is holy, may the connections between us inspire and sustain us. May the flame of life within us and among us be a sacred reminder that we are all called to serve, to grow, and to love as we continue this journey of transformation. Go in peace.